let's move on to formatting. So if we decide to use that tab we've created for the balance sheet and start to build a balance sheet, I'm going to call the balance sheet Jen's Balance Sheet. I've got the name of the company, I've got the fact that it's a balance sheet, and I'm putting the date in. Now notice I'm going to use the apostrophe before I type in the date so that Excel doesn't automatically convert it because I want it to read December 31st, 2019. Now you can see that I typed each of these separately in separate cells. So if I want to go ahead and start to format this, because I know I'm going to use multiple columns to create my balance sheet, I can drag cell A1. I'm using the shift button and the right arrow, but you can just as easily click and hold it with your mouse. And if I know already, and usually I don't know this yet, that I'm going to go between A and G columns building my balance sheet, I'm going to use this cell and I'm going to center it in the middle of all that to make it nice and pretty. So what I clicked is this button here, the merge and center. So let me do it again. I've got it, my cursor on A1. I'm shifting and I'm holding my right arrow key, tabbing over to the letter G, letting go, it's still highlighted, now coming up to merge and center. Now the reason I'm doing this one at a time is because if I put them all together and did this at once, it would merge the 3 rows into one row. And I don't want to do that because what you'll see in future videos is that I want to have this date be something that I can update more easily in reference. So I want to keep it in its own cell. So now I've got the top of my balance sheet looking correct. So let's say that I start with my assets. And I have cash and accounts receivable. Okay, now you can see how the accounts receivable is bleeding over into cell B1, although it's not in B7, although it's not in B7. See, if I go to cell B7, you can see up in this area that there's nothing there. If I go back to A7, I see that accounts receivable. If I double click the column, see I went and put my cursor between column A and B, I double clicked it and it auto-sized that column for me. So that's another way to make your files look nice. So if I have $100 in cash and maybe $100 in cash, maybe $1,000 in accounts receivable, then I want to make these look nicer. So you can see right now there are no commas in these. So if I want to always have a comma, I can do a couple different things. I can go up to the upper left corner, click there, do it left click there, and it highlights the whole tab. This means everything that I want formatted will come out formatted this way in this tab. Then I'm going to go up to the comma up here in the top. These are various format things, and I'm going to click the comma. Well, now you can see I've got the comma as I wanted in my 1000, but I don't need the decimal places. It's very rare to have decimals in balance sheets. So again, I'm going to come back up to this formatting area, and I'm going to go ahead and click not the increased decimal, because that would give me more, but the decreased decimal. So by clicking it twice, now I don't have any of those decimals. And you can see if I keep typing, all of the cells know to format themselves that way because I did it to the whole sheet. You can also format a cell one at a time. So again, now I just have my cursor on cell B9. I'm going back up again to this format area. This time I want it to have a $sign. So I'm going to hit the $sign button. Now it's automatically going to put those 2 decimals back in again when I hit the decimal sign. So I have to remember to go back and change it again so that it's just got no decimals but is rounded to the dollar. So there's a lot of different things you can do with formatting. When I like to format anything associated with numbers, I always put the comma in. It makes it easier to read. Usually, unless I'm dealing with, pennies, I don't have the 2 decimal places show. So again, that's just something for neatness. And then in parts of our financial statements, if you look in your textbook, there are reasons that sometimes you want to use the $sign as well, usually at different total marks. We don't do it much in our class, but you can also change something to a %. So we don't need that to be a %, so I'll change it back. that's it for formatting right now. Again, you can use this area at the top, but like anything on your computer, you can also get to a lot of things by right-clicking on your mouse and then going down to Format Cells, where it'll continue to give you a lot of different options and ways you can format that cell. So there's probably 10 other ways we can get to it, but again, I like to use the area up here in the middle. I find that to be the most convenient.